Tonight, the tragic love affair of Dodie and Di and the New Zealander who saw it all.
They were constantly engrossed in conversation and laughing and joking, and they just seemed like so natural together and so happy.
Debbie Gribble's story for the first time on television, Homes Tonight at 7.
Police searching for missing friends Olivia Hope and Ben Smart dredged a sludge pond today, only a few kilometres from Picton. Port Authority workers pumped water out of the stormwater retention pond in Shakespeare Bay. That's the bay where the seized sloop was moored on January the 3rd. Tomorrow, police will check the metre-deep sludge.
We need to eliminate possible areas of search and be satisfied that there are no items of significance or relevance to the inquiry.
Police are now appealing for photographs or sightings of the sloop in Shakespeare Bay on January the 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
A New Zealand-born man is dead after a street brawl in the central Sydney suburb of Redfern. 38-year-old Robert McPherson, originally from near Kaitaia in Northland, was stabbed and beaten after an argument with 4 men in a ute.
The attack itself was very callous and brutal and seemed to have no real reason for the attack.
Robert McPherson is survived by a de facto wife and 9-year-old daughter in Sydney. Police haven't arrested anyone yet.
New Zealand wharfies are caught up in an industrial dispute across the Tasman. They're being offered big dollars to help break one of Australia's most powerful unions. David Jameson reports.
Australia's waterfronts. Inside the harbour gates, there's only one union here, the 10,000-member strong Maritime Union of Australia. Now Australian farmers, fed up with ports they claim are inefficient, want their own watersiders.
Is it true also that you've been recruiting from New Zealand and Canada for people to train?
No, that's no...
Well, who would do the training?
Well, let me tell you, I've been in Canada, so if somebody's been looking at my travel itinerary, that's interesting.
But unions say New Zealand watersiders are being tempted with contracts like this. It offers 25,000 Australian dollars, that's nearly 29,000 New Zealand, plus a 10% bonus for just 3 months' work. That's more than half a Kiwi wharfie's average yearly salary.
We're already sending Australian workplace agreements to potential candidates in New Zealand. Why do we have to recruit New Zealanders onto the Australian waterfront?
New Zealand union bosses say it won't happen.
That issue has been discussed by ourselves, and no New Zealand waterfront workers will become part of that.
Unions here claim workers at one port have already been approached to store parcels if Australian ports become strike-bound, but they say they'll refuse. At the moment, there's only been suggestions of industrial action at Australian ports, but union officials say if there's a big influx of New Zealand workers, it'll mean more than just talk. David Jameson, One Network News.
Rains have eased in Australia's Northern Territory, but the town of Katherine is still under metres of water. Some residents had to take to the rooftops before help arrived. Hundreds of families have been evacuated. The Katherine River reached a record level of 20 metres at its peak. Supplies have had to be airdropped to outlying areas. And in Peru, torrential rain blamed on the El Niño weather pattern has caused flooding across 3 provinces. Rivers have burst their banks, ripping away bridges, roads and houses. About 70 people have died. Thousands more are homeless.
Members of Britain's royal family have visited the Queen Mother in hospital 2 days after she fell and broke her hip. Princess Anne was the first to see the 97-year-old who had her left hip replaced on Monday. She spent 20 minutes with her grandmother, as did Princess Margaret when she visited a little later. Buckingham Palace says the Queen Mother has made good progress since the operation. The Queen, who was riding at Sandringham today, has yet to visit her injured mother. And the Duchess of York's about to feature in the bookshops again, this time with a cookbook. The author of Budgie the Helicopter has launched Dining with the Duchess in New York. The cookbook includes 125 recipes, all based on the Duchess's favourite dishes.
Chinese communities worldwide are celebrating the start of their new year, the Year of the Tiger. But celebrations kicked off here today with a Treasury warning. It says that Asia's troubled tiger economies could shave $300 million off our budget surplus next year. And that's worrying Chinese New Zealanders as they celebrate their new year. Here's John Stewart.
Amid signs in the good luck colour of red, the ancient lion dance, even though it's the year of the tiger. These reportedly happy lions wander from restaurant to restaurant, taunted continually by this guy, the big head god, Tai Tao Fut. Out into the kitchens they wend their noisy way. Some sleep blissfully through the racket, some don't. And this nipper's dad had to provide instant earmuffs. The lion leaps up to grab a lettuce, symbolising the freshness of a new year, and a packet containing a Chinese version of koha. This man's from Malaysia. And what's the year looking like for them there? Horrible. But while the year of the tiger is being ushered in with the usual wishes for successful money-making, the tiger economies back home are providing painful reminders to Chinese here that they're now more like badly mauled pussycats. Malaysian Chinese who settled here and then returned home during the boom are feeling it particularly.
They're practically sold off what they have in New Zealand and move back to Malaysia to expand their businesses, and they are the people who are badly affected.
Still, the year of the tiger's okay for this exporter of peonies. He's the only one in the world who can supply China at this time of the year. He's doing just fine. John Stewart, One Network News.
Just ahead, a warning from the Prime Minister about settling Maori grievances.
And a hunt for shipwrecked treasure ends in a Christchurch fraud trial.
Later in sports, selling New Zealand to the world, the joint bid for rugby's showcase event.
Hi, I'm Mike McRobertson. Coming up, a showcase of another kind as we reveal the new name of the New Zealand men's cricket team. That's coming up live in our sports news.